So it's finished Man City 2, Brighton 0. A kind of comfortable yet sort of uncomfortable game at times, where we bring home the 3 points, and Raheem Sterling showing once again why he is such a key player for Man City. He was last season, and it's looking like he's going to be again this season. Great performance from him. Let's talk about the game, where it was won, and how now we can look forward to that game against Hoffenheim on Tuesday. Yes guys, welcome to the video. Man City picking up the 3 points has meant this has already been a fantastic weekend. As always, if you do enjoy this video, make sure to leave a big thumbs up on it. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel, and leave your thoughts on the match down in the comments section down below. A very, very pleasing performance. It could have been so much more than 2-0, but bringing home the 3 points is the main thing. And yeah, like I said, we can look forward now for that Hoffenheim game. I did also want to say a quick thank you to everyone that subscribed after the last video. I had a few people jump on board to the channel from the preview for this game, so thank you so much for joining the channel, subscribing, and I hope you do enjoy the content. Again, if you do, let me know in the comment section down below, and share and like this video, guys. Massively, massively appreciated your support as always. But yeah, focusing on the game, that 2-0 win against Brighton has actually put us top of the table for now. Liverpool and Chelsea, or Chelsea and Liverpool I should say, it's at Stamford Bridge, are playing as I speak, so currently they're drawing, and we are top of the league. Raheem Sterling is back top of the league, as we like to sing, and yeah, it was just a great performance. It was a very dominant display, but as is always the case, when it was only 1-0, there's always that little bit of doubt Brighton could creep back into it, and that was the case, particularly as we were edging towards the middle of the second half when Aguero made it 2-0, but very dominant display, very good display, and we actually played a slightly stronger team, a slightly different team to the one that I predicted, because I thought we'd rest a couple of players with the must-win game in Hoffenheim coming up on Tuesday, but it was a very strong 11 that we went with. I say strong 11, it's always going to be a strong 11 in the Premier League, obviously, but there were starts for Otamendi, who came back in, seems to slot back in and do the job all the time. Zinchenko played at left-back. I didn't expect that. I thought Duff might be back in time for this one. Perhaps he'll be back for the Hoffenheim game. I'm not sure, but Zinchenko very solid, and for someone that's not an actual left-back, came in and did a great job once again. Further forward in the middle of the park, we did have the two Silvers in the centre, something that I mentioned in the preview that I was hoping would be the case, and they again linked up very nicely, Bernardo and David in the middle of the park, and then ahead of them, we had Raheem Sterling, Leroy Sané and Sergio Aguero leading the attack. Flashbacks of last season, and you can see why we were so successful in that campaign last year, because those three work together so well and can produce dangerous attacks at any given moment, especially when we had that 1-0 lead and they had a bit more space to work with him behind on the break. Foden also came on for a few minutes right at the very end, but it was nice to see him get in on the pitch to get a nice reception from the crowd after his performance in midweek. I do think as the season goes on, you're going to see him getting more and more minutes gradually over time. Even though he only played like 5 today, I think 5 minutes of Premier League football could almost do as much good for him as the 90 minutes he played against Oxford in midweek, purely because of the calibre of opposition that he's up against in the future. So that is a good thing. You know, he's going to get more and more minutes as the season goes on, hopefully, and that can only be good for his development as he slowly gets introduced as a first team regular over the next season or two, fingers crossed. The main performance that I wanted to highlight from that game, to be honest, was that of Raheem Sterling, who once again showed that he is going to be an important player for us this season. I mentioned it in the introduction. He is, every time he plays for England, he gets so much stick, and a lot of people don't seem to appreciate what he does, but for City, he is such a key contributor. I mean, I saw a stat earlier on, after today's game, that now in the last 39 games, he's contributed 35 goals or assists, which is an absolutely fantastic return for someone in the City squad as well. You look at the talent in there, the likes of De Bruyne, David Silva, Aguero, he contributes just as much as anyone else in that 11, and he's someone that needs to be appreciated. I think he already is by City fans, but for fans of the Premier League in general, more appreciation needs to be shown. I mean, the first goal was from him, of course. It was lovely work from Sané, great ball out to him, drilled it across the box, and it was a classic Sterling tap-in at the far post. And then the second goal was a bit of a better one in my opinion. Lovely move, quick football through the middle of the park. Aguero gives it to Sterling, Raheem gives it back to Aguero, who slots in first time, but he just seems to be, attacking-wise, at the heart of so many good things that we do. All front three are really, Sané, Aguero and Sterling, and that is why, although Mahrez is in good form, it's going to take a lot for him to become the main man, or one of the main men I should say, in that attack, because all three contribute so well. All three had a great game today, and played a major part in why we won the game at the end of the day. As mentioned, we also had the two Silvers in the middle of the park, a partnership that I think is working really, really nicely. I mean, when you look at it on the face of it, neither of them are particularly tall, neither of them are particularly physical on the eye, and I think that's what might be a bit misleading because they put such a shift in between themselves. It's not just a creative play going forward that they do so well, the link up between them is absolutely mesmeric at times. It's also the fact that both of them get stuck in there, you know, they're nippy on the tackle, they get in and around, and you know, even though they're not necessarily always getting the ball back directly by winning the ball, they're closing doors and forcing people to go where they don't want to go. And that's something that they both do really, really well. And it showed again in today's performance. Fernandinho sitting behind them both as well is a bit of an insurance policy, of course. But both of them, again, absolutely fantastic today. And that's something that in De Bruyne's absence that I think you're going to see a lot more of. Because the few times they have played together centrally, I think it's only 2 or 3 times now, they have been absolutely fantastic. So that's something, like I say, you might see again against Hoffenheim on Tuesday, although it wouldn't surprise me with the congested fixtures if you did see Gundogan coming now. Another mention has to go to Zinchenko as well. I touched upon him in the lineup where I was talking about the fact that he played instead of Delph. And again, he fits in very, very nicely because of the way we play, the fact that we see a lot of the ball in. He doesn't usually have to do a ton of defending, so to speak. He actually fits in quite nicely. He keeps the ball well. He's got a good pass on him. He seems confident and reassured in his ability, which is fantastic. And when you look at the Zinchenko of a couple of years ago, there is no doubt in my mind that he is improving. Now, I've mentioned this in the past, I don't think there's any way realistically that he's going to be dislodging Mendy, but he is still a nice option to have, and when he's been called upon, he's only ever done good things. So again, big shout out to Zinchenko, filling in that left back role again and getting the job done nicely today. A quick word on Brighton, who were dangerous at times in today's game, but it was pretty much how we predicted in the preview. They were playing on the break, they were playing for those set pieces, and they did have a couple of moments in there, but on the whole, they were drowned out by the amount of possession that we had, something that we like to do on a regular basis, obviously at the Etihad, and it did form a familiar pattern. But when it was only 1-0 going into the 60th minute, you know, if we didn't get that second one, it could have been Nova. They could have thrown bodies forward. Thankfully, we did get that second goal, and their heads seemed to drop really soon as Aguero scored. They knew, I think, at that moment that they were going to be out of the game, and that pretty much secured the 3 points. But Brighton, you know, 2-0. I think we beat them by the same scoreline last year. There's certainly no pushovers. A tough team to break down. And again, I think they'll be okay this season. They've certainly got some match winners in there. And with Glenn Murray, who's a player that seems to get in the goals season in, season out, I don't think they'll be going down this season. And certainly, you know, didn't put in a poor performance by any stretch of the imagination. So kudos to Brighton. Like I say, I think they'll be absolutely fine this season. Decent team. Houghton's done a great job there. Looking forward now to the game against Hoffenheim on Tuesday. I predicted that we'd play a slightly different 11, as I've already touched upon in the game today against Brighton. That does now mean that I think there will be a few players coming in for that game. The likes of Gundogan is more than likely going to come in my opinion, for some fresh legs in the centre of the park. And I also think you're going to see Mahrez coming in for a start as well. Again, just because of the fixtures we've got coming up. However, let's not paint this any other way. This game against Hoffenheim is a must-win game after the abysmal game we had against Lyon in the opening game of the group stages. We got to make sure we get the 3 points and get back on track in the Champions League. So that's something that needs to happen. Team-wise, like I said, I think you're going to see a bit of rotation. Wouldn't surprise me if Stones and company came in for that one, although I'm not particularly keen on messing around with the backline too much. When we're going to have so many games coming, you know, it's only natural with the squad depth that we've got that changes are going to be made. So again, Company's probably going to come in my opinion. Stones as well. Wouldn't surprise me if even Danilo made an appearance. But at the same time, I don't want us to be playing a weakened team and take the game for granted. So although I think we're going to rotate, I don't want to see us do it to a massive extent. So ideally, although I think Danilo could be in for a start, I hope Walker does get in there. You'll have to forgive me, actually, my camera's just died. Let me just get that back on. Sorry about that, guys. So as I was just saying, it wouldn't surprise me if Walker was swapped out for Danilo, just for rotation purposes, although I do want to see Walker starting. I do want to get, really, as strong as possible squad out there, but without, you know, it's a difficult balance, isn't it? You want a strong squad, but you also want to rest some players, especially as we've got that massive game against Liverpool coming up after this one as well. So, you know, I think Jesus could be in for a start again. I think Gundogan's going to come in the middle of the park. But other than that, ideally, I wouldn't want to see a ton of changes just because of how well we've played today and the fact that we do seem to be getting good, consistent performances. But let me know, again, your thoughts on the game today in the comment section down below, and let me know how you think we're going to be lining up against Hoffenheim. I may well do a separate preview on that game that you could see on Monday, and we can look into that game a bit more in depth. But yeah, another great win in the Premier League. We're keeping up this fantastic start that we've had. The only points we've dropped so far, of course, being away at Wolves, and that one controversial with the Bolly handball, obviously. But yeah, strong start to the season. Let's keep it going. Fingers crossed for the game on Tuesday. Again, if you did enjoy the video, guys, leave a thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts down below. And that is going to end this off, guys. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. I will speak to you all next time. Nidge out.